Located on the shores of the Baltic Sea, in the city of Peterhof, just 30 kilometers from St. Petersburg, Peterhof Palace is one of the most impressive monuments in Russia and one of the grandest residences of the Russian monarchy. Nicknamed the Russian Versailles, the palace is not only an architectural marvel, but also a testament to the ambition of the Russian Tsars and their desire to rival the great courts of Europe. Today, we will explore everything you need to know about this monumental palace, its history, its architecture, its garden, and its legacy. The construction of Peterhof began in 1714, when Tsar Peter the Great, in love with French gardens, decided to create an imperial residence on the shores of the Gulf of Finland. He wanted something that reflected the grandeur and magnificence of Imperial Russia and could compete with the Palace of Versailles in France, a symbol of the power of the European monarchy. The choice of location was strategic, as he wanted to have a resting place near the capital, St. Petersburg, which he had recently founded. The project was led by Bartolomeo Rastrelli, an Italian architect who played a crucial role in the creation of many of Russia's most iconic palaces. Although the initial design was simple, over time the palace was enlarged and transformed, becoming a luxury complex full of fountains, gardens, and pavilions. Peterhof Palace is a masterpiece of the Russian Baroque style, with influences from Italian and French architecture. The main building is 2 floors and is adorned with majestic frescoes, marble, gilding, and chandeliers, giving it a feeling of opulence and splendor. The main facade, in a characteristic yellow and white color, is flanked by a series of Corinthian columns that reinforce the elegance and symmetry of the building. The interior of the palace is equally impressive. The crown room, for example, is decorated with gold and marble of different shades, while the Great Hall is famous for its ceiling painted with mythological scenes. The Chamber of Tsars, intended for official events, is another of the most important spaces, with sumptuous furniture and an atmosphere full of luxury. One of the most distinctive features of Peterhof Palace are its gardens and, especially, its fountains. These gardens stretch for several kilometers and are designed with a symmetry and detail reminiscent of great European gardens, but with a particular touch of Russian majesty. The Peterhof fountain system is famous all over the world. The best known is the Great Waterfall, located at the bottom of the palace. This waterfall has a series of fountains, statues, and pools that flow into the sea, creating an impressive visual spectacle. The waterfall is crowned by the statue of Samson, which symbolizes Russia's victory over Sweden in the Northern War. This fountain is an example of 18th-century hydraulic engineering, as the water in the fountains is fed by a system of underground canals, allowing the fountains to operate without the need for pumps. In addition to the fountains, the Peterhof Gardens feature pavilions such as the Diana Pavilion and the Women's Pavilion, which were designed to be places of rest and socialization. These structures, along with manicured paths, ponds, and marble sculptures, make Peterhof Gardens one of the most beautiful complexes in the world. Despite its splendor, Peterhof Palace was not immune to the difficult times in Russian history. During World War I, the palace suffered some damage, but it was the Russian Revolution of 1917 that had the greatest impact. After the fall of the monarchy, the palace was abandoned and many of its works of art and valuables were looted. During World War II, Peterhof Palace was severely damaged. German forces occupied the region and gardens and buildings were destroyed. The palace suffered significant structural damage and many of the fountains were dismantled or damaged. However, restoration work began shortly after the war and, although the process was long and arduous, many of the fountains, statues, and rooms were restored to their former splendor. Today, Peterhof is one of the most visited tourist destinations in Russia. The complex has been almost completely restored, and both the palace and the gardens are an impressive example of the cultural and historical wealth of Russia. The site is considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site and remains a symbol of the greatness of the Russian monarchy. In addition to being a tourist attraction, Peterhof also hosts art exhibitions and cultural events. The Great Waterfall, with its imposing fountains and sculptures, remains the center of attention, attracting thousands of visitors each year who marvel at the display of water and the panorama of the Baltic Sea. Peterhof's legacy is undeniable. Beyond its architectural and natural beauty, The palace represents the desire of the Russian Tsars to build a powerful and opulent nation that would rival the great European monarchies. Today, Peterhof remains a symbol of Russia's greatness, a reminder of its imperial days, and one of the most impressive architectural gems in the world.